Hey fellow listeners, today we're going back to deathcore country as we talk about Oceano's new release, Revelation. Let's take a listen. Guys, like I said, we're talking about Oceano today, formed in 2006 in Illinois. This is the band's fifth studio album, and as I said, it's titled Revelation. This is their first release with Sumerian Records, who they just signed with. And I'll be honest, this is kind of my first time diving into this band, but I'll say I wasn't disappointed at all. And just to start with, I will say that I didn't find a whole lot of discussion online about the meaning of the lyrics or this album as a whole, so a lot of what I'm going to talk about is the lyrics. So when I'm interpreting the lyrics, just know it's just my own interpretation. I'm not stating that it's fact or that the band has said any of this, just purely my own speculation. Like I said, not a whole lot of discussion online, but this is a really dense record lyrically and story-wise, so there's a lot going on and a lot we have to get through. Revelation definitely feels like a concept record in its nature, and I love concept albums. And I believe that their previous release, Ascendance, was also a concept record, and I think this is supposed to be treated as like a sequel to that. The album stays brutal throughout. There are a lot of memorable moments. Unfortunately, it's only like 30 minutes long, so that's a bit of a bummer, but they definitely utilize all 30 minutes really well, and they are able to just keep it as one cohesive story throughout. Right away, we get some mystical, eerie synth and dark prophecy to kick it off, along with some blast beats to just already thrust us into the world that is Revelation. Overall, I think the album kind of talks about these higher beings, our ascendants, and us humans here on Earth kind of blindly following our leaders who are essentially leading us to our own destruction. There are a lot of themes that talk about not caring for the planet as we should. Already in track 1, we're being told that it's our fault that our home planet is fucked. So these ascendants, these higher beings, kind of look down on Earth and see what's happening and see that it's kind of going to shit. And they're kind of like, oh shit, this place is doomed, and it looks like the humans are the plague that are causing this demise. As we move on to track 2, Lucid Reality, it sounds like it's kind of like a dream sequence of one of the humans here on Earth. He's kind of dreaming of a better place that's like beyond the stars, and I think that the ascendants are trying to speak to him through these dreams. They're telling him to like let his spirit rise and realize that there's something better out there. I love the blast beats in the song, and along with that lyrical theme, I think that the synth does a really good job of portraying this sense of wonder and mystical possibilities that are beyond our Earth. Path of Extinction basically talks about like a convening or a meeting of these ascendants as they try and decide whether they should intervene with our doomed Earth or if they should just turn their backs on us. Kind of brutal. There's this really cool part with the vocals around 50 seconds in that kind of sounds like a whispered scream, kind of where I believe it's supposed to be the ascendants speaking to us. And they're basically telling us that we need to evolve as humans and kind of reverse the damage that we've done to our Earth, or else they're essentially going to scorch us. I mean, in the song itself, they ask us if we're prepared to burn if we continue down this path, because that's going to be the consequence if we keep doing this. And the ending to the song, when they say that to us, Jesus, I just felt my stomach drop as I was listening to that final breakdown. They come in swinging at like 2 minutes and 26 seconds with that breakdown, that gut-wrenching low end, and then they slap us with that really fast double bass. Musically, they just did a good job of portraying that higher being looking down at us and just being disgusted and full of hatred. The Great Tribulation, the drumming on this song is inhuman. I can barely keep up with it, and it never lets up. Story-wise, this is what I gathered from the lyrics. It sounds like the Ascendants sent some human beings, or some type of saviors, those chosen by the Ascendants as they're referred to in the song, to try and save humanity on Earth. And yet they fail. The tribulations of the few return to haunt the many, kind of saying that everyone on Earth is going to suffer because of the dumb actions of just a small section of the race. Musically, it's not my favorite track, although it is the most impressive drum-wise, but the lyrics do a really good job of moving the story along. Illusions Unravel seems to me that these ascendants are coming down to Earth and kind of talking to us humans about our leaders, who might be the chosen ones that were sent down by the ascendants, and basically saying that they're keeping information from us. One of my favorite parts in the whole album is the creepy whispered lyrics towards the end of the song where they say your masters kept you in the dark. It's complemented by them screaming the same lyrics right before it. It's so eerie, and it just adds to that sense of mystery and intrigue that they're bringing down to the humans. Musically, that ending section is just so good. I think towards the end, the ascendants, or these gods, these higher beings, are trying to tell us that this is the last chance for us to change. Majestic 12 kind of has the same lyrical themes as the previous track, Illusions Unravel, and it just feels like a continuation of these higher beings telling us that our leaders are pieces of shit, and they're just going to lead to the destruction, the elimination of humankind. Misguided, the masses remain is one of the big lyrics here. So saying that as a human race, we're still kind of blinded to what's really going on. At this point, it seems like these gods are realizing that nothing they're doing is really helping us realize what we need to do. With all of the heavy vocals on this album, it's really hard to stay innovative, but there's a section in the song where I was kind of taken aback because it just sounds so angry, even compared to the rest of the screaming vocals. And it's when he first screams / growls, "Come together and demand disclosure." So obviously at this point, we're trying to band together as humans, and the gods are telling us that we need to go to our leaders and just demand this information that they're holding from us. I personally love the lead guitar that comes in towards the end of the song. The end to the song totally feels like we're in revolution mode now, and we're about to lash out at our leaders and save humanity. Final Form is an instrumental track, and judging by what happens in the next song, The Event, I think that this is a big war happening between the human race as we try to fight for survival. There are a lot of brutal guitar riffs thrown throughout the song, but there's also this contrasting synth that brings in this really emotional melody to it. The Event, as you can imagine, is a super intense track as it talks about the aftermath of this war that happened in Final Form. They talk about there being bodies everywhere, thousands are dead. I love the synth in the beginning of the song. There's definitely this sense of dread all throughout, which I'm pretty sure is what they were going for. It looks like this is the beginning of the end of Earth. That breakdown right around 1:12, right after he screams, "Endure the event," is one of the best breakdowns on the record. It's just so dirty. You just feel the anger and the aggression coming from these gods as they're speaking to these leaders, telling them that everyone has left and telling them to think about why that happened and how they fucked everything up. The section from like 1:44 to 2 minutes is some of my favorite guitar work on Revelation as a whole. And those riffs combined with the blast beats just make this one of the most intense moments on this whole thing. We end the song with one final dread-filled breakdown as the gods reiterate the fact that Earth no longer exists and all life has been disposed. Human Harvest is definitely a great visual image, and it's also the name of the next track. This song has a music video that accompanies it, which kind of gives you an overall feel of what this album is about. All life is basically dead now, and the ascendants are basically scouring the remnants and the remains of everyone on Earth to kind of find the people who are worthy of being resurrected and essentially saved from the death of Earth. I don't know what the hell the criteria for that are. I get my little taste of some more lead guitar in this song. That riff is short and sweet, but it was a nice little knick-knack just kind of tucked away in the song. So the ascendants resurrect these human beings that they deem worthy, and they essentially say, like, look around, look at what happened here on Earth. And then it seems like they're taken elsewhere to another planet that is definitely not Earth. And then basically everyone just kind of sits down, eats some popcorn, while they watch Earth implode and become no more. This is such a fucking fantastic concept. It's so dark, and it's intriguing and brutal. Of course, I'm gonna keep throwing that word around. I just can't get over it. Okay, so the closing / title track, Revelation, is an amazing finale for this epic story. To me, it reads as this being, I think one of the humans that was resurrected, waking up and kind of wondering where he is after experiencing what they thought was the death of themselves and Earth. So yeah, I definitely think this is from the vision of one of these resurrected humans. Another fantastic breakdown with some more of that creepy, eerie voice starting it by saying, "I don't belong here anymore." And then it seems that this chosen one is sent through a black hole to the past, through time. The song says he's found consciousness, which I believe is the point in which he lands back on Earth and he realizes that he's in his previous life. And through his traveling through this black hole, he has seen some shit. He now realizes that all of the timelines lead back to you. Now, I don't know who you specifically is supposed to be, but in my eyes, I think it is the human race as a whole. They have this amazing growl that is held for a long time. I didn't count exactly, but it's one of the drawn out growls at around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Impressive vocals there. The synths here towards the end definitely have that finale feeling, like this is the end, this is the revelation that this human has come to realize, that he has been sent back in time to Earth to warn everybody of what their future holds and hopefully save the humans from creating their own demise. I thought that ending was super badass, and the synth melodies were just super emotional and daunting. So with the story, these chosen humans have been sent back in time to try and save Earth. But early in the record, they reference chosen ones kind of losing their way and not listening to the gods. So it kind of makes you wonder if this has been like some vicious cycle that's been going on, and this is the beginning of yet just another cycle. I love that aspect of time travel that they threw in there. Just what an insane concept record. Well guys, that was a lot to dissect. Revelation by Oceano. I can't recommend this album enough. I didn't even know what to expect going into it, and I got this amazing sci-fi story basically. It totally felt like I was reading a novel as I was going through these lyrics, and with that being said, I would recommend having the lyrics handy if you're gonna go listen to this whole thing, because it adds such a huge dynamic to it. This is deathcore at its finest, I think, and they had a lot of cool elements in there. The vocals, both high and low, are super amazing. They sprinkled in some lead guitar here and there, although not as much as what I've heard from Ascendance. Whenever that lead guitar came in, it still had me smiling though. The synth did a good job at making me feel what Oceano wanted me to feel at the right times. The drums, of course, had me wondering how it's possible any human can fucking do that stuff. This album is quite the banger, and I recommend it to any metal fan, and especially a deathcore fan. I think you definitely don't want to miss this album. And I am now encouraged to check out more of their previous work. I hope that this album definitely helps these guys get recognized, because it doesn't seem like they have the biggest following, although deathcore in general doesn't. But it'd be good to see a lot more people getting their hands on this album. It was definitely very well crafted. Alright guys, thanks for joining me today to catch my thoughts on Oceano's new release, Revelation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. You can go check out some more of my deathcore-ish album reviews with, I reviewed Within the Ruins, I reviewed Immure, I reviewed, Boris the Blade, and those are all good albums that I would recommend checking out. Like the video, share it with your deathcore friends, and go ahead and check out my 100 subscriber contest video as well. I just released that video a couple days ago, and so you can go see what's happening with that. I think you deathcore fans will eventually really like the outcome of that. Lots of goodies in the description below, and we'll see you in the next review. Thanks guys, rock on.